Hey guys, it's Juggernaut here, and as you can tell from the title of the video, it's just going to be my thoughts on the new Xbox One X. As you saw from E3, Microsoft released and unveiled their new Xbox One X, which was Project Scorpio. It's supposed to be their new 4K Xbox. So as you know, or I don't know if you knew, but it is actually priced at $500. I'm going to actually leave a link in the description of if you actually did want to build a PC, because there is actually a way for you to play PC games at 4K medium settings. I'll leave a part list up. I'll put that into the video. But just saying, this Xbox is pretty powerful for $500. So now this is where I'm starting to go and get a little concerned with. Phil Spencer did state that this was tailored towards the enthusiast. Originally, the original Xbox One during the original launch in November cost $500 in 2013. However, that came with the Kinect, and that was the main reason why it was so expensive. However, if this was tailored towards enthusiasts, you'd think enthusiasts that were high into hardware, they'd be going for a PC. And as you saw from my PC build that I had there, that costs $519. You don't pay for that $60 membership, and it's $500, and it should perform about the same as the Xbox One X in terms of 4K resolution. And the reason I say this is because the Xbox One X, the GPU used inside that system, it's the RX 480 underclocked by 94 megahertz. Obviously, it's going to be changed up a bit for the console, but it's not much more powerful than that. And a lot of console players think it's as powerful as a GTX 1070, which is not the case. So I should mention I actually did upgrade to the GTX 1070. I did that mainly for the fact that I actually do video editing and I need those CUDA cores in order to reduce the stress on my CPU. But besides the point, the console is not going to be anywhere near as powerful as that. However, there is console optimization, which really means just they lower resolution, lower resolution, lower graphical settings in order to get the 4K gaming that they kind of promised. However, we saw in a lot of games, Assassin's Creed Unity. I think there's a few other games I can't remember, but I was looking at it, and the Xbox One X is doing checkerboarding, and a lot of people who were on the Xbox One X's bandwagon did state to me, they're saying that it was going to hit 4K 60 FPS, and some of them even said ultra settings, PC settings, which I thought was a little unrealistic considering GTX 1080 Ti is the only graphics card that can hit, besides the Titan XP, that can hit 4K 60 FPS. I don't. That's a $700 card right there. I don't really see how a $500 machine could do that. And little do they know now. Well, they actually do know now a lot. That it actually does not hit 4K 60 FPS, and most games do run at 4K 30. Destiny 2, coming on the Xbox One X, it's gonna hit 4K 30 FPS. There was a saying that it was to keep the game being fair across all platforms. However, I don't think that's really the case, because if they really wanted to, they could lower settings on the Xbox One Standard Edition to get 60 FPS. I think it's just because the console is just too weak to run the game at 4K 60 FPS without lowering settings to compromise that 4K resolution. I've been saying this for a while, but as much as people were saying that it's a 4K console, it is a powerful console, don't get me wrong. For $500, you are getting a very powerful console. However, in the long run, that's all it is a console. And they generally are a little too weak to run at 4K Full HD. We saw the Forza footage, and it is able to run it at 4K 60 FPS. Granted, it's a Microsoft title, so most Microsoft titles will be running at 4K. Native 4K, but they'll be at 30 FPS for the most part, except for a few. I'm just thinking right now, if there are a lot of new games that are coming out, which the console's not even out yet, and there's a lot of games that are going for checkerboarding, It leads me to believe that future titles coming out onto the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro, which have already been discussed, that PS4 Pro is a upscaling console. You know, they're upscaling to checkerboarding, they're doing checkerboarding, some sort of technique to get it to 4K or just faux 4K, and that's what I think they're going to do with the Xbox One X. It's not powerful enough to hit native 4K except for Microsoft exclusive titles, which, by the way, will also be on PC. There's no real exclusive titles really on the console, like timed exclusives. But that's the case. Nobody, I just don't know. I really think that if you're going to be going for a $500 system, I don't think you should be going for the Xbox One X. However, if you are going for a semi-powerful console and you only want to spend $400, I do recommend the PS4 Pro, as it's $100 cheaper and it's still using the checkerboarding technique that is found on the Xbox One X. Yes, the Xbox One X is a more powerful console. However, to me, it is not a $500 investment, and if you are wanting to get the Xbox One X, I do recommend that you wait until the price drops. The reason I say wait till the price drops is because at $500 you can build yourself a gaming PC which you can adjust your own settings to get 4K 60 FPS or 4K 30 with higher settings. And it's the upgrade path. You got an upgrade path, and obviously you saw that it only I had a 6-core FX series 6300. Has only DDR3 RAM, but that's all you can do. A lot of people don't realize that you cannot just add DDR4 RAM to a random motherboard and CPU just randomly. You can't do that. You have to add what is required from the PC, and it's DDR3. However, with the new upcomings of DX12, you do not need very powerful cores. There's a couple tests with Battlefield 1 where somebody was using an Athlon versus a 4-core, I think Intel, I don't remember which one, I think it was an i5, and they were performing almost the same. It was like a few frames here and there, but because DX12 utilizes all cores rather than a single powerful core, you're allowed to have a weaker CPU, which is, I think, the main reason why Microsoft did decide to budget with their 4K system, well, they claim 4K system with the Jaguar, because at DX12 it matters more about cores rather than the power of the core. And so there is really no CPU bottleneck except for the DX11 games, which do require a more powerful CPU, which is, I think, the main reason why Destiny is kind of bottlenecked on the consoles, just because I'm not entirely sure, do not quote me on this, but I think it's still a DX11 game, which uses a more powerful core, and we saw that the Xbox One X's CPU is only clocked at like 2.13 gigahertz or megahertz? Gigahertz. Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, if you guys are in the market for a new console or looking for something to play games with, it's really hard for me to justify purchasing a new Xbox One X, recommending it, just because it says it's for enthusiasts. If you're an enthusiast, you're definitely going to go with a PC since it has more powerful hardware. And if you're just trying to be gaming at like at the console level where it's a little bit more powerful, I just would go with the Pro. It's $100 cheaper. Most games are not going to be able to run at 4K anyways on the Xbox One X, as we saw in the new titles that are releasing, that 4K doesn't seem to be very achievable, at least not right now. Maybe a few more optimizations with newer games coming out, possibly, but as hardware, or as games get more powerful hardware, obviously you need to have that upgraded in order to run those games at ultra settings or high settings to keep it up and, you know, running at 4K. So just overall, I don't really see the Xbox One X as a justifiable purchase that you can get right now. Maybe that will change in the future, but that is my thoughts on the Xbox One X. If you have any problems with what I said, feel free to leave that in the comments. But have a good day, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay safe.